In 2004, Blockbuster was one of the biggest companies in the world. 9,100 stores, 84,000 employees, $6 billion in revenue a year. For years, it took in more money than Amazon. When you walked past that blue and yellow sign, you were looking at a machine that seemed impossible to break. 6 years later, it was bankrupt. And the strange part is, the company that killed it had walked into Blockbuster's office with its hands up, offered to sell itself for $50 million, and been laughed out of the room. That meeting changed the course of modern business. And it is happening again right now, not with video, with artificial intelligence. Every industry on earth is having its Blockbuster moment, and most companies are making the same mistake Blockbuster made. This is the story of why it happened and how you can see the warning signs before it is too late. It starts in 1985 in Dallas, Texas. A man named David Cook opened a video store. Not a small one. He packed 8,000 tapes into one location, 6,500 different titles. The idea was simple. A video store should not look like a dusty corner of a convenience store. It should look like a supermarket for movies. Big, bright, row after row of shelves. Enough choice that you always left with something. The concept worked so well that a serial builder named Wayne Huizinga bought in and turned one store into thousands. Every year, the machine got bigger. The stores multiplied. The brand became a verb. You did not rent a movie. You went to Blockbuster. By 1994, the media giant Viacom paid $8.4 billion for the company. This was not a successful business. This was a national institution. And it kept growing. 9,000 stores at the peak. Hundreds of millions in profit. But there was a poison in the model. And everyone who ever rented from Blockbuster knew what it was. The late fee. If you forgot to return a movie, you paid. And Blockbuster did not just tolerate late fees. It depended on them. In the year 2000 alone, late fees brought in $800 million, 16% of all revenue. Think about that. A business built on movies was making nearly $1 in every $6 by punishing its own customers. Here's the part that should terrify every company in the world. Netflix was founded in 1997 by two guys who thought the model was backwards. As the story goes, one of them, Reed Hastings, had been hit with a $40 late fee on a movie he forgot to return. And he built the opposite. No stores, no late fees, just a disc in the mail, and a subscription you could never be punished for. In the year 2000, Netflix was bleeding money, so its founders did the humble thing. They flew to Dallas, walked into Blockbuster's headquarters, and offered to sell the whole company for $50 million. $50 million. Blockbuster was making hundreds of millions in profit every single year. It could have bought Netflix with pocket change. John Antioco, the CEO, did not say no politely. As the founders tell it, he laughed. He called Netflix a very small niche business. The meeting was over in under an hour, and Blockbuster missed the most important deal in the history of its industry. There's a version of history where Blockbuster owns Netflix, where that blue and yellow sign became the face of streaming, where the late fees died quietly and the stores turned into pickup points. It could have happened for $50 million. It did not. And history did not remember the meeting. It remembered the laugh. Now here is what actually killed Blockbuster. It was not Netflix's cleverness. It was Blockbuster's refusal to believe the future was real. Netflix went public in 2002 at $15 a share. Blockbuster watched. In 2004, Blockbuster finally launched its own online rental service, but it did it reluctantly, as a side project, while pouring its energy into the stores. It was not trying to win the future. It was trying to protect the present. Then, in 2007, Netflix turned on streaming. No discs at all. Every movie on demand with a click. The future had arrived, and it was no longer a niche. It was what people actually wanted. Blockbuster scrambled. It killed late fees in 2005. It tried to copy Netflix's subscription model, but it had already built its entire empire on the opposite idea. Every store, every lease, every manager, every process was designed to rent plastic boxes across a counter. The company could change its prices, it could not change its shape. Blockbuster's stores, its leases, its employees, its entire cost structure were built for a world that was ending. It had spent years ignoring a simple truth. Customers did not want to be punished. They wanted convenience. And when a better version of the product appeared, they left. In September 2010, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy. It had $1.46 billion in debt. In April 2011, its broken remains were auctioned off for $320 million. A company that once sold for $8.4 billion was sold for less than what some streaming shows cost to make in a single season. Today, Netflix is worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Blockbuster is a single store in Bend, Oregon, run as a tourist attraction. So here is the question no one wants to answer. What is your industry's Netflix? Because the Blockbuster story was never really about movies. It is a pattern, and the pattern is playing out again right now with artificial intelligence. Look at how Blockbuster failed, and you will see 3 warning signs. The first sign: Blockbuster saw a new technology and treated it as a threat to be dismissed, not a future to be built. Today, that is exactly how many companies talk about AI. It is a toy, a hype bubble, a novelty for tech people. That is not analysis. That is the sound of a company deciding to be Blockbuster. Listen to how people talk about AI right now. It writes bad poetry. It makes mistakes. It cannot be trusted. The exact same words were said about streaming in 2000 and about the internet before that. Every technology looks small and broken right before it rewrites the world. The second sign: Blockbuster depended on a model that punished customers, and it protected that model even when it was hated. Today, the same companies are protecting work they can do the slow, expensive, human way, instead of asking what customers actually want. The late fee version of a business always dies when the convenience version appears. The third sign: Blockbuster kept optimizing the business it had instead of building the business it needed. Every dollar spent defending the stores was a dollar not spent inventing the next thing. That is the most dangerous part of the pattern. Not that the technology is scary, that the comfort is real. Peak revenue, peak profit. Everything looks fine, right up until the moment it does not. The uncomfortable truth is that you cannot see your own Blockbuster moment from the inside. Everyone inside the company thought they were winning. They were. They were winning the old game while the rules changed. So ask yourself this: not what AI can do, not what the hype says. Ask which parts of your work, your business, your industry are the stores. Which parts are the late fees? And which parts are the future you are refusing to buy for $50 million because it looks small today? Because someone is going to build the Netflix of your industry. The only question is whether it is you or whether you are the one laughing them out of the room. Blockbuster laughed, and it became a story they tell in business school about how fast the world can change. The world is changing again. It is changing right now. And the only people who will survive it are the ones who learned the lesson Blockbuster learned too late. Do not protect the present. Build the future.